actor Paul Newman, this is the season when his skills as a racing driver have come to full maturity.
When I started out in racing, I knew that the guys were saying, oh, well, balloon foot out there. I said, well, that's their problem, because I'm a slow study and I know it's going to take me a long time, but you can't quit simply because they're laughing at you. And the one thing that you learn in acting is to go out there and make mistakes. In order to do it right, you may have to do it wrong. And the same thing is true in racing.
And for Paul Newman, figuring out what racing is all about has meant victory in race after race in a season of preparation for the big one. His goal, to win the national championship at Road Atlanta. Look at that, it's coming across. All right, pretty good. Hi, I'm Sam Posey, watching practice here at Road Atlanta. Being a spectator is kind of unusual for me. I'm usually the guy down there in the driving seat. But I've been a professional driver for 15 years now, racing at such events as the 24 Hours of Le Mans and the Indianapolis 500. The events here at Road Atlanta comprise a sort of Olympics of road racing. As in the Olympics, there's a wide variety of competition. These low-slung machines, built solely for racing, run in one class, while these sedans, which are barely changed from the way they come out of the showroom, in another. No prize money is paid in any class, so the driver's motivations cover a broad spectrum. For some, a win here could be a springboard to a career as a full-time professional driver. But for most, racing is an engrossing hobby, one in which the danger and difficulty only make success that much more rewarding. Many drivers are fascinated by the mechanical aspects of the sport. They love the cars, working on them, tuning the engines, setting up the suspension. Frank Leary fits this mold. A top mechanic, Frank does all of the preparation of his own car. He races in the hotly contested class known as C Production. And in the championship race here last year, he won by outwitting his competition. What he did was to build an incredibly powerful engine. Here, he uses it to make the pass that put him into the lead. In many sports, the specific physical demands tend to produce a stereotype, whereas racing drivers come in all shapes and ages. Casey Millet's in his 20s, Paul Newman and Jim Fitzgerald in their 50s. Drivers also differ in their attitudes toward the sport. Jim Fitzgerald's approach is something of a country gentleman's.
Since I retired from Western Electric, life has been nice. The pressure of getting up in the morning and getting for work and coming home late is over. Now, a mechanic arrives at 7:30 in the morning. I hear him out there. I get up, shower, and I'm out. We go down and we start our enjoyable chore of working on our race car.
A contrast with Fitzgerald's easygoing approach is the obvious determination of Dave Frelson. Up to now, he has won 4 national championships, a remarkable feat. But Frelson's goal is a 5th championship, an accomplishment which he feels would put him amongst a true elite of road racing. Bill Queckendahl, newer to the sport than Frelson, has yet to win a championship. His greatest pleasure in racing is the driving itself. Everything is secondary to that. He loves the feeling of controlling the car as it slides in the bends, and the faster he's going, the better he likes it. Bob Leitzinger's lifestyle is devoted to his automotive dealership, his racing car, and his family, of which he speaks with pride.
We're a very busy family. We're always on the go, going somewhere, doing things, and
Leitzinger's entire family will join him for the full week of the Atlanta Championships. It's a holiday they've earned because, as he puts it,
I would never be here if it wasn't for the 200% support that I got from my family.
For Logan Blackburn, a successful businessman, much of the pleasure of racing comes from the proper organization of his team.
Organizing the race team and putting together the people, the pieces, the parts, the logistics of getting various engines and other components shipped around the country frequently by air freight, and putting it all together And coming up with a team that is capable of winning is one of the most satisfying parts of racing for me.
For Casey Millette, a young West Coast champion, there are few logistics to consider. He has no mechanics, no helpers, no spare parts. At Road Atlanta, his team consisted of himself and his car. That was it. But Casey enjoys the battle with the better financed teams, even though he realizes he's at a disadvantage. For these drivers, and the others that come to Road Atlanta to race, the object, of course, is to win. But winning is often a function of the quality of your car, or just of racing luck. While the challenge of getting the most out of whatever car you do have, and pushing yourself to your own absolute limits, that's there for each driver. Just how fast a car can be made to go around a racetrack is a question of the laws of physics, a combination of the tire's ability to grip the road and the engine's power to thrust the car down the straights. The art of driving lies in finding out what the car's limit is, and then, with unwavering concentration, keep the car balanced on that knife edge throughout the race. The effort, physical and mental, that goes into racing on the limit isn't often understood by people who haven't raced. Amongst themselves, the drivers tell colorful stories with a sort of gallows humor aimed at sidestepping the issue of the real danger they face. For Paul Newman, this camaraderie is one of the best parts of racing.
Well, I enjoy the people that are involved in racing, for the most part, a lot more than I enjoy the people in Hollywood. There really can't be a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of bull in racing, but it's kind of fun put on bull, and nobody takes themselves seriously when they're doing it. And that's the opposite of what you get in, I mean, it's all bull in the long run, but one is taken seriously and the other isn't taken seriously. And that's why this is so much more fun.
This last year, Paul's fascination with racing has been such that he's competed in more events than he ever has before. In fact, some people think he's spending more time with his racing career now than with his movie career. He drove in the 24 Hours of Daytona and then won worldwide recognition by finishing second in the famous 24-hour race at Le Mans. In view of all this activity, it's not too surprising that he chose to run a couple of cars here in the National Championship. His second car is this highly modified sedan. Paul qualified a strong third in this class. Here he comes down the hill just behind the front row qualifier. There's the green flag. Taking the lead is Bill Queckendall, the fastest qualifier. He's on the left there in the orange and white car. Dave Prelson, defending champion in this class, is right with him, holding second as they go up the hill. Newman is third. Bill Queckendall, leading here, surprised everyone with his speed in qualifying. Now he's trying to pull away from Prelson and Newman as they leave turn 3. An all-time record crowd is on hand as the leaders stream down into the S's. Frelson's staying with Queckendall. Frelson, an accountant from Evanston, Illinois, won this race last year with this same yellow and black Datsun 510. Queckendall, controlling the race as they head into the hairpin, usually ran behind Newman in races held earlier this year. This is the slowest part of the track, and here they accelerate up the full length of the straightaway. Horsepower and aerodynamics are the factors here. Newman's dropped to fourth, but he's starting a pass. He's moving back into third. They're up to about 120 miles an hour here as they start down the hill. Now close to 135 at the bottom. As they near the completion of the first lap, it's Bill Queckendall first, Dave Prelson second, and Paul Newman is back in third place. Dave Prelson is exerting terrific pressure there. The early pace of this race has been absolutely... There's the oil flag. Someone's blown an engine. Look at Prelson. He almost loses it there in turn 2. The oil, you can see the oil glistening on the road. There's Ronnie McLean going off, way off in the grass. Newman's coming through here quite cautiously, I would say. Keith Bowman there. That's Bowman right behind him, crowding him actually a little bit as they start down into the S's. Coming into the hairpin, it's Queckendall and Prelson. Oh, Newman and Bowman have gone off. They tangled somehow and have gone off into the grass. Looks like Newman may be stalled. Bowman gets going okay. But Newman still, there he goes. The damage to Newman's car seems to be limited to the front bumper. His biggest problem is the time he's lost. Up until now, Newman has been undefeated in this car so far this year. Back to the leaders. Queckendall with Frelson behind comes through the S's. Bill Queckendall is a chiropractor from Rochester, New York, and so far he's driven a perfect race, except he slides a little bit wide there, and that may give Frelson a chance. Yep, Frelson's on the outside of Queckendall now, but he has to tuck in right behind him. Queckendall fights off that bid as the two leaders accelerate up the back stretch. It's 75 degrees, perfect racing weather, and these two men are staging a classic race. The leaders are just past the start-finish line. Oh, Dave Frelson is pulling out wide. I think I know what he's trying. If this move works, he'll have the inside line as they go up the hill. That's a neat move. He's got him. It worked. Look at that. Dave Frelson's taken the lead. This thing's becoming a real tactical battle. For Newman, however, it's just a question of trying to catch up. He's fifth now. He was seventh when he went off, but there's not much time left in the race. Here are the leaders. This is going to be another pass. When a car's right behind another on the straight, it's easy to slingshot out just like that. It's a pure drag race now as they head down the middle part of the straightaway. They're dead even going into the valley. Dead even just down at the bottom. Now it's going to be a question of who can break the latest as they go up under the bridge. Frelson, it was Frelson. He's into the turn first, but Queckendall's better position. And he's able to come out on the inside of Frelson as they head down the hill. Yes, Queckendall retakes the lead as they pass the start-finish line. Queckendall leading at the top of the hill. Oh no, he's going off the track. Queckendall's going off the track. Frelson's pulling up alongside. They're dead even. And they're dead even down the back stretch. Another drag race. This time maybe Queckendall has a slight edge. 135, 140 miles an hour here. Heading up toward the bridge. Queckendall leading, Frelson trying to get by. That's Queckendall's blocking. That's a pure block. Nothing wrong with that at all. Frelson desperate to get by. Here they go into the final lap for the national championship. Frelson looks like he's trying everything as they come down through the S's for the last time. Those slides could be an indication that his tires are becoming badly overheated, however. Yes, as they come up on the straight, Queckendall is outdistancing Frelson. It looks like Bill Queckendall, the Rochester chiropractor, is about to win his first ever national championship. And here he comes to take the checkered flag. Dave Frelson is second. Paul Newman has pulled himself up to third.
Yeah.
Bill,
Yeah.
An incredible super drive.
Thank you.
Tell us about it.
It was fun.
To qualify for the Atlanta Championships, drivers compete in races all over the country. One such event was held at Lime Rock in Connecticut just 6 weeks ago. For Paul Newman, it was a chance to stay in shape. He's got a theory that because of his age, he gets rusty more easily than the younger drivers. The race also meant an encounter with Bob Leitzinger, whom Newman thought could be a big threat in Atlanta. Newman started fast while Leitzinger's white car ran fourth, mired in the pack. Newman had spent the summer barnstorming through the Northeast, winning race after race. A victory now would clinch the Northeast Division Championship. All at once, Leitzinger began his attack. With a clear track, he began to close the gap. But Newman was the Iceman, unruffled as he swept toward victory with Leitzinger just out of reach. Pleased with Paul's success, his wife Joanne Woodward was there when he climbed from the car. Obviously enjoying every minute, Newman thanked his crew and headed for the winner's stand. But as delighted as he was over this and his other early season wins, Newman was well aware that the real test would come at Atlanta. It's Sunday, the final day of the national championships at Road Atlanta. The C production field takes to the track for the pace lap. On pole position, the 1977 national champion, Logan Blackburn, driving one of the new Datsun 280ZXs. Second fastest in qualifying, Paul Newman starts from the outside of the front row. Jim Fitzgerald qualified his Datsun 280ZX in third. In fourth is a Jaguar. Driven by Fred Baker, this car has an extremely high top speed. Bob Leitzinger had trouble in qualifying. he'll start 5th. And the defending national champion, Frank Leary, qualified 6th with his older model Datsun 280Z. Here, the rest of the field streams out behind the top contender. The grid looks set. The pace car's starting to pull off the track. The start is only seconds away now. Look at those beautiful cars. As they come down the hill, Newman's begun to accelerate, and the green flag hasn't even been dropped. This could be a false start. No, they're waving the green flag. Newman's timed it perfectly. Newman's slightly ahead, but Blackburn is well positioned on the inside. It's Newman's lead, though, as they go into the first turn. Blackburn 2nd, Fitzgerald 3rd, trailing a little smoke. The Jaguar is 4th. Boy, that was a great start. I gotta think Blackburn figured he'd take the lead on the first lap, and it's Newman instead. Look at Newman stretch that lead. That's Fitzgerald in 3rd, and Baker's Jag is 4th. This looks like more than just a good start for Newman. He's really pulling away. No driver can ever be sure how a race will develop, and Newman must be thrilled with this, and Blackburn, frankly, a little surprised. Newman in the past has tended to be a little conservative on the starts of these big championship races, including yesterday's in B Sedan. But in this one, he seems to have a killer instinct.
Well, I used to be able to be psyched. You know, you can't psych me anymore. But that was also true in my pool playing. When I started out with a Hustler, I could get psyched in a pool game. But I can't get psyched out anymore, which is comfortable. I'll see a guy in my mirror, and, you know, 2 years ago, I say, oh, God, he's going to catch me. And now I say, well, I'm going to show him where it's all at and just put them all together. And that's a very comforting feeling.
Newman still leading the race easily. Logan Blackburn is 2nd, and a big battle's developing for 3rd. There's Baker, Leitzinger, Leary, and Fitzgerald, who's been off the road and is trying. Casey Millette's having a spin. Look at that. He's half off the road now. Back onto the grass. He just misses the end of that guardrail. He's okay. Here's that battle for 3rd. Baker seems to have slowed slightly, and Leitzinger and Leary are all over him trying to get by. Newman and Blackburn continue to pull away. They've established a 5-second gap over the battle for 3rd. Baker pressured heavily now by Leitzinger. Leitzinger's going to try to pass. He's got the momentum off the hill, but the Jaguar's got the horsepower. He's pulling back ahead. Leitzinger's going to have to make a desperate move. No, he doesn't try it. Baker's still 3rd. Into the S's. Leitzinger seems willing to bide his time. Now that he's got an idea where he can pass Baker, he's probably going to let his tires cool a little and wait for the right moment. Here they go down the straight. Baker pulling out a little. Leitzinger will start his move at the top of the hill just after the bridge. Leitzinger's making the rush at Baker, but this time he's pulling out later than he did on the last lap, and I think he's got more momentum. He's got him. Now we'll see how much Leitzinger was being held up. Look at him pull away. I think there's even a possibility he may be able to catch Blackburn. Here's Newman, further ahead than ever. Occasionally, a big lead like this will cause a driver to lose his concentration. But like any driver who's frequently in the lead, Newman is well aware of this risk.
What happens is you get about a 10-second lead and you start slowing down a little bit. And then when you have to, you know, get on it again, it's hard. I try to avoid that by, you know, shifting a little early and by braking a little early and trying to get through the turns, you know, at exactly the same speed, but sometimes it doesn't work.
And he has slowed by about half a second a lap. I think he's pacing himself very carefully. Logan Blackburn is still running as hard as he can. Nonetheless, Leitzinger is catching him. Now it's a question of how much time is left. Frank Leary's gotten by Baker, but he doesn't have Leitzinger's speed. Leitzinger's really turned on. Where would he have been if he hadn't gotten stuck behind Baker for so long? Look at Blackburn slide. Here's Baker, who did so well at first, but now he's spinning. This will put him completely out of it. Here's Newman, fully in command. His car, which was expertly prepared by the Bob Sharp racing team, has performed flawlessly all the way. He's on the last lap now. Here he comes to take the checkered flag. He's won it. And here's the battle for second. Leitzinger's caught Blackburn, and now Blackburn's having to block him. It works. Leitzinger can't get by. Now Blackburn's gunning it for the finish line. Blackburn hangs on to take second. Leitzinger's third in an unbelievable finish. Oh. Bob Leitzinger, an incredible drive.
Well, Sam, I think if I would have gotten ahead of that Jag just a couple laps sooner, I may have pulled a second off. I don't know how Paul was doing it. He must have just been going like a rocket. I don't know if I could have caught him or not. He must have just been flying.
Logan, how early in the race did you begin to worry that he was going to be able to make that lead stick and even pull away?
Well, it looked that way from probably the first couple, 3 laps. It was obvious that I just couldn't close on him on handling or braking or horsepower. So I drove as hard as I could and you know, maybe waited for something to happen. He drove a super race. Nothing did happen. And I had to fight for my life to hang on to second.
Last year you were second, and you said then maybe you could be first with a little help from the driver. How do you feel about the driver right now?
Well, I don't know. That car worked so, you know, it usually is a sign of modesty, baloney. Shirley Temple could have gotten in that thing and gone like a rocket. There was just nothing that didn't work right. Nothing.
How do you feel as a driver? Are you proud of what you've just done?
Yeah, it felt pretty good. I mean, the last time I inherited, you know, the championship, and this time I won it fair and square, so I feel good about that.
For that number 33 Datsun to come out front of the bridge. There he is, headed through turn number 12. And Paul Newman is going to be the C Production 1979 national champion. Now look at Blackburn. He's fighting it out with Leitzinger. It's Blackburn in the lead. Leitzinger on his tail. Blackburn takes second. Leitzinger third. Newman on a wire doing a 130. Logan doing a 132 as he began to fall off the base. Obviously having some problems. Almost caught by Leitzinger. Your fourth place car flashes by. It's car number 48, Frank Leary. And right behind him was Jim Fitzgerald in car number 38. Your top 5 cars, 33 Newman, 85 Blackburn, 95 Leitzinger, 48 Leary, and 38 Fitzgerald.